Alrighty, so we got some news of the week to talk about on this early Sunday evening on March 29th, 2020. And you notice here on this upper right hand corner, I actually have a new wall decor that I put up on the wall a couple of days ago. It's actually a Allianz Field wall decor that I put up a couple of days ago. And to kind of quote what I tweeted out a couple of days ago of how since I can't go to Minnesota because of this whole coronavirus outbreak that's kind of ruined my travel plan. I guess the next best thing for me to do is just buy a picture of Allianz Field, and every time when I look up, I'll just pretend that I'm actually there. And even though, as insane that might sound to be, it might be actually the next best thing that I can do besides actually going to the stadium in real life. I mean, right now it is we just cannot do anything in terms of travel wise or even just going out because of this whole coronavirus outbreak that is going on. So yeah, I mean, it might be insane, it might, and in some way it could be sad depending on how you look at it, but this is the world that we're living in right now, and we're just living in a part of our time period where this is something I don't think anybody have ever seen before. I mean, I definitely didn't expect a couple of months ago when this whole coronavirus outbreak has happened where everything just shut down and we are ordered to just stay at home and trying to avoid any contact with anybody besides our family members. And, the best thing I can say about that is hopefully eventually things will kind of calm down, and that, as I mentioned many times before, there's been a lot of people that are kind of scared about this, whether are they going to be like the next victim to catch this virus, or the fact that some of their family member might catch this virus and that they could be at risk of potentially not making it once this outbreak is over. But all I have to say is that we'll just have to pray that eventually this will get under control, and that I definitely keep up with the news day to day, although most of the news that I've been looking at are kind of news that give us some stats in terms of how the coronavirus outbreak is going on, and not news about people just trying to continue to provide fear and just kind of saying that, oh, this is the end of the world, and that there's going to be at least 2 million people that is going to be infected heading into the next couple of months. So yeah, that's the news that I don't watch, and that's the news that I really hate the most in terms of just unrealistic prediction, and it's just a classic example of the media trying to put fear at you, even though you already have enough fear to deal with right now, and that there should be at least some positive thing you have to go through heading into this not heading to, but living through this tough time that we're living in right now. But that being said, let's actually talk about some of the news of the week. And as much as I really want to start with a positive tune, unfortunately, I'm going to have to kind of start with a bit of a negative tune and talk about the NPSL season will now be canceled due to the coronavirus outbreak. And I should have wrote the NPSL summer season because I heard they were going to have a fall season, and that the reason why they decided to cancel the summer season is if they do come back either in May or June, they probably won't have enough time to finish the summer season before they start the fall season near the end of August. Now, if that is the case, then that's totally understandable. But if that is not the case, and there isn't going to be a fall season heading into late August, then why in the world is this season being canceled? The NPSL season is not like the MLS season where it takes about 7 to 8 months to complete. In general, an NPSL season can be lasting like 2 to 3 months in the regular season for most teams, or 4 to 5 months depending on if you are a team that is in the Western Conference or in the Golden Gate Conference, where they actually start the season 2 months earlier than everybody else. But the bottom line is the NPSL season is so much shorter than the other season in MLS or even in the USL Championship. So why in the world did they decide to just downright cancel? And them canceling this season not only is going to be tough on the NPSL, but it's also going to be tough on some of these teams in the NPSL, because some of these teams in the NPSL don't really have a lot of money to fund the team, which kind of explains why there's a lot of NPSL team in recent year have either been folded because they just ran out of money, and now the fact that they canceled the season and that some of these teams have to still pay to kind of be in this league even though the season is being canceled. If they don't earn enough money of them being in this league, then yeah, basically they could be in danger of folding heading into next year, and that is also one of the bad news about this whole NPSL thing being canceled, and that it's not just also bad news the fact that I can't go to any NPSL game, and there won't be any NPSL games that be featured in my Sports Hub series unless they have a fall season, but also some of these teams could be in danger of folding because of this season being canceled. But moving on, in terms of the next news, and unfortunately we have to continue with a little bit of a negative tone in terms of the news of the week. And that, of course, is former New England Revolution original John Doe Berto have passed away at the age of 51. Now, they said that it's due to an unknown death, and they didn't say that he has passed away with the coronavirus outbreak, but we don't know if that is going to be the case. But either way, it's always sad to see an MLS original, and it's always sad to see a player that played in the first season of MLS to be passed away in such a young age of 51. And for those of you that don't know who John Doe Berto is, he actually spent 5 seasons in MLS, and he didn't spend a lot of season with New England. I believe he only spent like 1 or 2 seasons with New England before he moved on to different clubs, and he was kind of a bit of a journeyman in MLS. Spent time with Columbus, Dallas, and even Kansas City during his time before he retired in his early 2000s. But as I said again, it's always sad to see an MLS original that plays in an MLS original player that plays in the first season of MLS sadly pass away. And my thoughts and prayers to his family in terms of seeing one of their loved ones pass away and have to deal with this situation. Probably even tougher now because they're also dealing with the whole coronavirus outbreak like everybody right now is doing in the world. Now, to kind of go into a little bit of a brighter mood and kind of bring some more positive tune in terms of the news of the week. The Seattle Sounders and the Philadelphia Union have pledged to provide relief funds for their stadium staff, and I believe the Seattle Sounders is going to provide $500,000 to their stadium staff that is not currently working because of the MLS season being suspended. And this is a good example of some teams that actually do care about their stadium staff, unlike certain teams like RSL and Minnesota that don't even care about their stadium staff and just kind of tell them to work at some of our sponsors kind of job opportunity like Pepsi as a way to potentially get another job during this whole outbreak situation. But going back to this, again, it's great to see that you have some teams that actually do care about their stadium staff, because at the end of the day, I think people don't understand that stadium staff is just as important to a team than it is to some of those higher ranked employees that is part of the front office of these MLS teams. Like, these stadium staff are the people that take care of the stadium, and also the people that actually make these concessions and just kind of provide a great MLS fan experience whenever you attend an MLS game. So I feel like they should be treated just as the same way, if not even better than some of these people that is running the franchise itself. And I'm glad that some of these teams recognize that and that they at least provide some relief funds to some of their stadium staff that unfortunately are also dealing with this tough time during this whole outbreak situation. Now, it's not just franchise that are trying to, or it's not just teams that are trying to help provide relief funds to their stadium staff or community. We also have some players that decided to do the same thing. And this week, Victor Wanyama says that he's going to be donating sanitizing kit back to Kenya. I'm not sure why it says back in Kenya. That's a little bit of a typo. And basically, he's going to be providing some sanitizing kid back to the area that he was from, which was in Nairobi and in the slum of Nairobi, so that they can at least get some sanitizing kit and try not to catch the coronavirus there. And yeah, it's great. Again, it's great to see players that not only care about the community, but they especially care about the community that they are from and giving back to the community. And that I really hope this is going to be some news that we're going to continue to hear. And these are kind of the news that during a dark time that we're going through will definitely lighten up our spirit a little bit. And I'm really hoping that eventually we're going to get more of these news where players and teams are trying their best to help out some of their community going through this tough time of this virus outbreak. Now, a couple of days ago, I actually read a interesting article on the cup.uf's website, which is a website that covered the US Open Cup, and they said that they are thinking about a very interesting way to modify the US Open Cup once the US Open Cup comes back. And basically, this new US Open Cup is going to be a 10-team tournament where you're going to have the MLS Cup champion, the MLS as Supporter Shield champion, the U.S. Open Cup champion, which was won by an MLS team, the USL Championship champion, the USL Championship regular season champion, the USL League 1-2 champion, the NPSL champion, and also the Amateur Cup champion will be featured in this competition, and that 10 of these teams is going to have a round robin kind of tournament to make up the U.S. Open Cup. Now, I definitely think that this is not a bad idea to think about, knowing the fact that if the US Open Cup does come back, we don't know whether or not if it's going to have enough time to complete the whole competition. But at the same time, there is a bit of a problem with this modified version. And I think the biggest problem with this modified version is most likely an MLS team is going to win this, and that this just makes it so much easier for an MLS team to win a US Open Cup, and that if MLS teams in this US Open Cup is not in the same bracket, we could potentially have an all MLS US Open Cup like it's been the case for pretty much the past 20 years. And, as much as I know recently there has been more upset that is happening in the US Open Cup, and some of these lower league teams have really provide some Cinderella runs that we definitely did not see a couple of years ago, there is still such a big gap in terms of MLS and USL teams, and that some of these worst MLS team might even put out their worst squad, and that you could argue some of their worst squad is still better than most of the USL team that is fielding their best squad. So because of that, most likely we're going to have, if this is going to be the format to take place, we're going to have an MLS team winning. And especially when you have these MLS team that is the best team in MLS, yeah, that's just going to make it even more difficult for some of these USL team that might be their best team in their league, but they're not necessarily have the best squad to compete against the best team in MLS that have the best squad. No matter if it's like their starting 11 or their reserve squad that they have that should have enough to beat these USL teams. So, yeah, I mean, it's not a bad idea, but there's definitely some problems with this modified version. And finally, in terms of the news of the week, Inter Miami and both LAA team have decided to do charity stream on FIFA 20. Well, they decided to do charity stream on Twitch and playing FIFA 20 as a way to raise awareness of this whole coronavirus outbreak. And if you want to check it out, I believe they have it on their Team Twitch website. I'm not kind of a guy that tends to like to watch these charity stream because, I rather kind of like watch the real thing than rather watch a couple of players that just play some esports. And that the bottom line is I'm not really that involved and not a big fan of esports. But if that's kind of something that you like, then make sure you check out some of the streams that they did. And also, I know last week MLS had a competition where you have these teams that have their esports player face off against another MLS team that have their esports player, and that they kind of had had a tournament like this, and I thought that was going to be something that happened every single week, which is why I kind of last week I did like kind of like an esport resort, but it turns out that was not the case, and they didn't really have it for every single week. So that's why there's no esports resort that I'm talking about in the news of the week, and that, you know, I know they probably will still do the simulated match that they have, where they simulate all the match that was supposed to be happening during the match week, and they have like the resort on that, and I'll probably talk about that in the next news of the week. Or if I'm crazy enough and that I'm really running out of content to talk about, I might actually do a review in terms of those games. But other than that, you know, that was really the only thing that I came close to actually doing a review video, and that, you know, this is also another reason why I really hope that this coronavirus outbreak will end, because I really miss doing my previews and review videos, and those are some of the videos that I enjoy the most doing, because I'm talking about every single team and how they play during the match week, and how some of them might actually have a bright future and some of them might be doom and gloom, like what we are living in right now with this whole virus outbreak situation. But that being said, I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash that subscribe button. Let me know in the comments below what do you think of these news, and if there's any news that I didn't feature on the board, let me know in the comments below. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy this video, and I will see you guys next time.